Hi, Sandra here from Creating Spain, and this time I'm focusing on the appearance box of iDraw, the app for Macs and iPads for vector drawing. Now, in order to get my boxes to appear on here, you can go to the window and you can go to Arrange Windows, and that will bring up the boxes. Or you can go to any of the inspectors along here and those will bring up the boxes too. Now, it's important when you get your box up that you check that it is fully extended, because you might miss features that it has if it isn't. And it's difficult to see, but in the right hand corner there are the little diagonal lines, and if those are showing, then you can extend your box and see how far it goes. On this one there isn't anything more than this. Okay, so the appearance box has a range of items across the top. The first one being the stroke or the outline. You may be familiar with either of those terms. The second one is the brush settings. This one here is the fill. The next one along is more unique, and this one is a label. And if you have a item selected, and if I go to my selection tool, select an item, I can choose to have a dimension added to it, and I can move this dimension to wherever I want it to be, but that's what the label is, dimension, or indeed text. You can add text to your boxes, but it's basically an automatic one. Just going to take that off there. The next one is your text, and that gives you the usual options for your text, including centering, going to the left, the right, justification, height of the text, and so on and so forth, and convert text to outlines as well. And then the last one here is the effects box, and that is for the effects you might have. If, for example, you have layers one on top of another, you can have a blend, and there's a lot of blend variations, as you can see, that you can have there. I've got it set to normal, but those I believe will only work if you have layers involved, and I've only got one layer in this document. You would need to have more than one layer. You then have the opacity slider. Whee! There we go. You have the fill, and if this box isn't checked, then you don't have a fill selected. If you click on this box here, you can then change your fill. This box has a tiny little square here, which is no fill at the top, a light colour fill, the pastel colours are in the middle one, and there's a box underneath that has the darker colours. So that's how you can access your colours for your fill. You have options on here for colour, or you have options for gradient. So you could, for example, put a gradient in. Okay, I'm just going to swap that back to a fill colour. And here you have more options to show up. You have the stroke option or your outline, and again you've got a choice of colours and so on and so forth. If you click the options on this one, you find you can adjust the width of your stroke. You can alter the type of stroke it is. On the left hand side you can have arrows, circles, squares, anything like that. I've got plain. This is your main part of your line, so again you can alter the style. And on the right side you could choose to have, again, arrows, squares, circles, whatever it is that you want to have on the right hand side of your line, if you so wish. You can alter the points right down, and if for some reason you're opening an object and you can't see it, just check to see whether you have a stroke applied, and if so, whether it's more than 0, because this will go down right the way to 0, and you just won't be able to see it pretty much. So I tend to try and keep it at 2, just so I can actually see it on the screen, and I can always adjust it later if I want to. Then you have the position of the stroke, which can either be in the centre or to the inside or outside of the object. And that's your blend tool again. Right, now let's see. Okay, need that on. Right, so that's all the stroke ones. Right, that's the brush, that's the fill. And you can also fill it with an image. You can drag and drop images into your shapes, as well as having angle, radial, linear gradients, and so on and so forth. And on the labels one, you can have, if you have a label, you can choose either dimension or text. And if, for example, I choose text, I would then type whatever I want in there, and it changes it on the screen, as you can see. And I can move the location around, and I can have it either horizontal, vertical, or parallel. I can have it centered. And let me see, what else? And the value, yeah. And there is somewhere, and I've gone and lost it, there is somewhere that actually allows you to put the outside around on it. I think it's on this one, actually, thinking about it. Here we go. You can have on your label, you can have a label colour and a border colour, and you can set the margins and so on and so forth. So all that is very, very valuable. And again, on the appearance, yeah, I think we've covered all of those pretty much. So those are the appearance effects, and between all that lot, you can do a heck of a lot of different things. On the fill, we have colour or gradient. If I go to gradient and pick this one, for example, if I then go to the move tool and I double click on there, I can actually move where the starting point is for the gradient. You can also slide this here by clicking on this. And to change the colour of the gradient, you click on one of them and you change the colour. That's quite simple. If you decide you want to add another gradient to it, I can click on here and there's another gradient. But if I want to get rid of it, I drag it out of there and it goes puff in a puff of smoke, which I think is quite cute. If I take this one away, there you are, see, it's gone in a puff of smoke. So there are lots of different options that you can have for that. Right, the effects also cover drop shadow. And again, you go to this little section on the side and you can vary it to your heart's content. Loads and loads and loads of variations on it. What else have we got? If I, nope, don't want to do that. Slide down here. I've got inner shadows, outer glows. These are quite good fun. The outer glow is quite good fun. You get a glow. And you have, click that one off. Click the shadow, don't want a shadow. And an inner glow, that one's fun too because you can vary. That's not the inner one. I've got to drop shadow. Clicked on the wrong thing. Right, inner glow, here we go. I don't know, I'm going to have pink. Click out of that. And if I do the slider, it does actually do an inner glow. Quite useful if you're doing cartoony type characters. So I think that's covered most things that are in there. Yeah, inner glow, outer glow, inner shadow, all sorts of different things that you can do. So you really need to play around with that to find out its true potential. But yeah, that's the appearance box. Just remember that there's so many different variations under each part of the appearance. And where you see these little things, you have more options. And to change colours, you click on the colour swatches. I hope you enjoyed that brief tutorial. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.